Everyone believed he was a weak orphan in a new world with E-rank skills, but he exacts revenge by destroying them all. Mist gets distracted, and Tuka takes advantage of this to put her to sleep with his skills. To his surprise, Mist then glows and reverts to her elven form. Tuka always suspected but now confirms that Mist is actually Siraz, the Princess Knight of the Holy Kingdom of Nia. Meanwhile, in the forest where Tuka defeated the bandits pursuing Mist, the leader of the Black Dragon Knights is observing the carnage. He believes Mist defeated the powerful bandits herself and looks forward to fighting her next. The following day, as Mist wakes up, her transformation skill activates, making her look like a normal human. She panics, fearing Tuka might have seen her true form, but feels relieved when she finds him asleep on the floor. Piggy approaches and starts squeaking, which Tuka interprets as a signal to stop pretending. They resume their dungeon exploration. When they sense the floor rumbling and shaking, they decide to flee. Suddenly, a giant monster bursts through the wall, and Mist recognizes it as the Skeleton King. Tuka identifies it as the dungeon's boss monster, much stronger than any demon they've encountered. Mist knows that the peculiar bone under its chin is its weak spot, and breaking it will ensure their victory. She believes normal mercenaries stand no chance against the Skeleton King, but together they might succeed. The Skeleton King seems to view Mist as a greater threat than Tuka, which Tuka accepts. Mist activates her power, telling Tuka she needs to use it to defeat the boss, but must keep it a secret. She asks him to keep her secret as special armor appears on her. The Skeleton King begins charging an energy blast, and Mist tells Tuka to run if she cannot defeat it. Tuka acts first by paralyzing the boss with his skill. Mist is confused but realizes Tuka is the man she met in the forest as he casts a poison spell on the Skeleton King. The Skeleton King dies from the poison, and Tuka collects the bones needed for the strengthening potion. Tuka observes Mist and realizes her mind is full of questions, so he promises to answer them once they are back on the surface. They start their journey back when Piggy alerts Tuka to something inside the Skeleton King's body. Tuka begins to investigate and discovers a small bundle within the demon's chest cavity. As soon as he picks up the bundle, it starts glowing and a strange symbol appears on it. Opening the bundle, Tuka finds an unusual egg, but Piggy seems very eager to have it, so Tuka decides to carry it with him. Meanwhile, Tuka's classmates have also ventured into their first dungeon. Some students flee as skeletal knights start pursuing them, while a girl sits on the ground crying over her severed arm. Her friend attempts to help her, but they are attacked by monsters. Everyone manages to escape somehow, and Nya stands her ground against the monsters, determined to stop them. However, before she can act, Sho and Kiri arrive and defeat the monsters in one go. Kiri uses his attack without concern for his classmates, forcing Nya to protect them. Kiri, proud of his newfound strength, reveals that he is now level 24. Back in the dungeon city, Tuka and Mist reach the surface, where Mist presents the dragon's eye cup to the guards, attracting everyone's attention to the ultimate treasure of the dungeon. Tuka silently takes his leave, and Mist follows him, informing him that she will receive her reward from the Lord the next day in a public ceremony. Tuka asks if she is free until then, and upon receiving an affirmative answer, he invites Mist to his room that night to discuss some matters. She agrees and takes his hand as he is leaving to thank him again for the cup. At night, Tuka is preparing a strengthening agent when Mist arrives at his door. Tuka tells her he wants to hire her as his escort for the remainder of his journey. He mentions that with the reward money from the cup, she is well set, but he still wants to hire her. He's trying to make her feel indebted by mentioning the cup, even though he doesn't like this approach. Tuka then shows her a map and explains that he wants to reach the Golden Demon Zone at the center of the continent to meet the Forbidden Witch. He claims that, given the many powerful monsters there, he needs someone skilled by his side, and Mist is the only one he can trust. Mist seems hesitant about going to such a dangerous area, and Tuka tells her she can take her time to decide. He then unexpectedly calls her by her real name, Siraz, and she responds out of habit, only realizing afterward that she has been tricked. Tuka apologizes but reveals he used his skill to put her to sleep in the dungeon, so he knows her secret. He says he needs her as a valuable asset and won't betray her. He knew that what troubled her most about traveling with him was her secret, but now it's out in the open. Mist stops hiding her secrets and explains that she can conceal her true form with the help of spirits, but they need her to sleep to regain their strength. She reveals her true form to Tuka, saying she trusts him now. In return, Tuka discloses his real name so they are even. She agrees to join him as his escort, and Tuka gives her one of the blue crystals he found in the first dungeon as payment. Mist is stunned to see it because the crystal is a rare item called Blue Dragon Stone, which is no longer available on the market. Just this single piece is worth more than the reward she received for turning in the cup. She refuses to accept something so valuable and returns it to Tuka, who thinks she is too good-hearted for her own good. He takes the stone from her and then tosses it back, saying it belongs to her now, and she can discard it if she doesn't want it. She reluctantly accepts it and then tries to tell Tuka about her past and the people still pursuing her. However, he says he is not interested in her past because, as her employer, he only cares about her abilities. The next day, while having breakfast together, people in the inn start making negative comments about them. Tuka tells Mist to ignore them and then asks what she knows about forbidden spells. She tells him that goddess Vicious banned some ancient spells and classified them as forbidden. Tuka thinks that if the goddess banned them, the spells might be dangerous for her. He thanks Mist for the information, and she blushes because it is the first time he has thanked her openly. Afterward, Mist leaves to collect her reward while Tuka goes to the forest to use the strengthening medicine on Piggy. Mist finds herself out of place at a party full of nobles and wealthy men. It is getting late, and she has not yet received her reward. At that moment, the Lord announces a famous magician who can break illusions as entertainment for his guests. Mist worries she might be exposed, and seeing that she is late, Tuka begins to suspect foul play. Back with his classmates, Ye visits goddess Vicious to inquire about treatment for the girl who lost her arm. V says she healed the girl only because she was a B-rank hero. She then asks Ye if she is not joining Kiri's group and tries to manipulate her into thinking it is selfish not to partner with another S-rank hero despite the situation. Ye remains firm and says she cannot work with Kiri at the moment. She vows to fulfill her duties as an S-rank hero on her own, and upon hearing this, V says she will let all the students who did not pass the first trial with her so she can train them. Ye panics and reminds the goddess of their deal that those students would be left unbothered if she fought on their behalf. However, the goddess says she received an order from the king and has no choice. She tells Ye that if she doesn't take the unsuccessful students with her, they will be disposed of, and Ye has no choice but to accept Vicious's order. On Tuka's side, he wonders if Mist has betrayed them and fled with the prize money, or if something has happened to her. The first option seems unlikely, so he decides to find her. On the way, he hears people talking about the girl who got the cup being the wanted elf princess. They say she ran into the forest after her secret was revealed, but it won't save her because the Black Dragon Knights are on her trail. Just then, 3 dragons appear in the sky and head toward the forest where Mist is trying to escape. One of the Dragon Knights attacks her, and Mist first uses her spirit magic to bring it down with an aerial slash. She enchants her sword to defeat the 2nd and 3rd Dragon Knights, but she is exhausted from fighting them, even though they are low-ranking knights. Then, a spear appears. A dragon is charging towards her, but Mist realizes it's a decoy and the real threat is in front of her. She charges ahead and clashes swords with a high-ranking knight named Jaizen, who tells her that she is going to die there. Mist can't use her spirit armor to fight at full strength because of the illusion-breaking spell earlier, and Jaizen keeps pushing her back while revealing that he received orders to kill her on sight instead of capturing her alive. However, he plans to have some fun with her before killing her. He continues to push Mist back, and when she loses her balance and falls, he kicks her sword away before pouncing on her. Fortunately, Tuka arrives just in time, paralyzing Jaizen and his dragon. Mist gets out of the situation and asks Tuka what he's doing there, while Tuka applies a non-lethal poison on Jaizen, putting him to sleep before talking with Mist. He reminds her that they can't discuss personal matters with others around. Tuka explains that he returned to pick her up, but she tells him she can't accept his job offer now because he would also be pursued by the Dragon Knights if he stayed with her. She tries to return the blue dragon stone to him, but he gets irritated and throws a pouch full of dragon stones back at her. Mist is perplexed by this, and Tuka tells her that he can't find a better escort than her and doesn't want to bother trying. He then abruptly asks her to undress. Mist wonders if she heard that correctly. Tuka looks at her, annoyed that she doesn't understand what he wants, and explains that everyone recognized her because of her outfit, so she needs to change to throw off the trail. He then tells her that he needs her to find the Witch of the Woods, as he needs to know what these forbidden spells are, and she might even help her hide her identity better. He then moves towards Jaizen, removes the sleep spell, and asks him who sent him to kill Mist. Jaizen looks up at him, wondering when he will die, but Tuka promises that if he reveals the truth, he will be spared, and Tuka would remove the poison spell. Jaizen decides to reveal the secret, wanting to see how the elf princess would react. But before he can say anything, Tuka senses danger and pulls Mist away as a huge sword smashes Jaizen's head. Tuka turns around to see 3 dragon riders led by a young man with silver hair and glaring red eyes, who declares himself as the strongest troop of humanity, known as Civet. He descends with his 3 companions and introduces their unit as the 5 dragon riders. Jaizen used to be a part of their group, but he talked too much, which is why he had to die. One of them seems a bit more flamboyant with his trendy haircut, while another wants to cosplay as a pirate and suggests using Mist as a ball and tossing her around the field before killing her. as the king himself ordered her death on sight. The flamboyant one tells the pirate to be quiet since the king wants Mist's corpse to look as beautiful as she does in real life. Mist is horrified by what these men are saying. She draws her sword, claiming she won't die so easily, but the men don't take her seriously. Civet offers her a chance to win a duel against him, promising that if she wins, he will leave her alone. However, his attention quickly shifts to Tuka, as he is now more interested in this strange foreign man than in the elf princess. Tuka realizes his life is in grave danger, feeling the power of this man is 100 times greater than what he faced before. Despite this, he smirks and asks Civet if they can have a chat. Civet asks his name, but Tuka gives a fake name, which Civet immediately recognizes and becomes even more intrigued. The pirate, seemingly clueless, asks why Civet is so interested in the boy, but Civet replies that this boy isn't trembling in front of the dragon riders and even wants to converse with the strongest man of humanity. Tuka realizes he needs to play his cards right to survive this and asks Civet if he simply wants to fight the strongest enemies he can find on Earth to satisfy his battle hunger. Civet acknowledges this but claims that few enemies can provide a good fight. Tuka then asks why he doesn't fight Goddess Vis, to which Civet responds that while the goddess is strong, their kingdoms have a peace treaty, but if war ever broke out, he would love to fight the heroes she summoned from another world, as they are supposed to be incredibly strong. Tuka smiles while Civet grows bored with Mist and tells her he doesn't want to fight a weakling like her. He asks her to drop her sword and accept her death. Mist refuses, which annoys the white-haired knight. Tuka decides to sweeten the deal, telling Civet that if he wants to fight a strong opponent who can actually go toe-to-toe with him, he should choose Tuka, as he is a hero from another world. Everyone is shocked, including Mist, who had no idea. Civet laughs, claiming he knew something was different about Tuka. He asks why the hero is wandering so far from his kingdom, and Tuka reveals the truth, explaining that the goddess considered him a different class from other heroes and sent him away. There's no trace of deceit, but Civet believes Tuka must be a very strong hero, and that's why he was sent alone. He asks what Tuka wants in return, and Tuka replies that he wants to postpone their match for now. Civet laughs and asks what he will get in return. Tuka says he will train to become stronger than anyone, even the goddess herself, and then return to fight Civet in an all-out deathmatch. Civet laughs maniacally and says he would love to see that one day, telling Tuka he is free to go on his way, and that the dragon riders will leave after dealing with the elf princess. Tuka's expression changes, and he tells Civet that he can't let them do anything to Mist because he needs her to help him get stronger. Civet laughs again, saying he's fine with that as he really wants to fight Tuka soon. Karen tries to protest, but Civet tells him to shut up if he wants to stay alive. Soon, they all take flight, and Civet tells Tuka to get stronger before his patience runs out. Tuka smiles and bids him farewell, waiting for them to come within his intended range before using his paralysis spell on them. Civet realizes something is wrong, but it's too late as all the dragons and their riders fall one by one. Tuka laughs, saying this isn't some heroic tale where people honor their words, but his gritty story of revenge against the world, and he doesn't care how he achieves it. Civet struggles on the ground, angrily asking what Tuka did, but Tuka doesn't bother to reply and uses poison on all of them, killing them immediately. Civet continues to struggle even after being hit by the poison spell, reminding Tuka of the Soul Eater, the only other monster that managed to move a bit while poisoned. Civet is much stronger, though, as he picks up his lance to throw at Tuka but ends up collapsing from exhaustion. Suddenly, an alarm goes off for backup, and a huge horde of dragon riders arrives. Civet tries to issue orders, telling them to keep their distance and kill both Tuka and Mist, but the dragon riders are too shocked to see the strongest four, including their leader Civet, either dead or dying. Tuka tells Mist she can escape while she still has a chance, but she insists on staying by his side as his bodyguard. Tuka smiles and connects with Piggy, using his newly learned ability. Soon, Piggy emerges and sends a bunch of tentacles towards the flying dragon riders, extending Tuka's range as he uses his paralysis spell on them. Soon, dragons and humans start falling from the sky. Tuka decides to use these men as test subjects and casts various spells on them to experiment. He applies a berserk spell on Karen, causing him to become enraged and start calling the manager, while he casts a darkness spell on the pirate, making him completely blind and struggling to see what's happening. Once he finishes, Tuka leaves them to die and paralyzes them again to make sure they can't escape. Suddenly, he realizes that everyone is dead, but Civet is somehow still surviving, which genuinely shocks him. Tuka approaches Civet as he takes his final breath and collapses on the ground, finally dead. Afterward, Tuka and Mist head into the forest, knowing that at least no one will be following them. However, Mist mentions that there might still be the Black Dragon Rider known as the Hero Killer who could be after her. Tuka suddenly remembers that he killed someone like that, which surprises Mist, who wonders how strong this man is. She pledges her loyalty to him and promises to stay by his side through any trouble, while he promises to repay her in kind. They begin their journey together through the forest, unaware of the adventures awaiting them. And that's it for today's anime recap. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next recaps and anime breakdowns. Speaking of the next video, it's already in the works, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.